This is the Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie podcast.
G'day guys, welcome to the podcast. How's everybody going?
Who speaks like that?
I don't know. I'm just trying into a couple of different voices today. I've got foreign accent syndrome.
No, don't do that.
What does that mean?
You know, you can have a
Do an
stroke.
Austin Powers for us.
Ooh, groovy, baby.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Austin Powers, is it?
Do Garfield.
Garfield? Did Garfield talk? Garfield?
Yeah. I think the new version of Garfield. My daughter doesn't even know who Garfield is.
I never really watched Garfield.
Do Gru from Despicable Me.
Gru. I will get you, my pretties.
I think that's just a villain.
That's the witch from Wizard of Oz.
The great thing is on the podcast, you can get the password later on in this episode for your
and
chance
even
to win.
the better thing is that you can't say Wippa sitting in his shorts.
What is wrong with
They're
these
like
shorts?
stubbies.
Are they too short?
They're very short
Wippa's
today.
got two pairs of pants / chinos, and they're in getting fixed at the moment, aren't they?
So I'm wearing shorts. The problem with these, they're really tight, so I've got a bit of a, what do you call it, a moose knuckle?
Yeah. Oh, it's more of a, God, I'd say more of a hippopotamus knuckle, to be honest with you.
Hippos have knuckles.
What's that?
They do now, which is great. This is awesome.
A whippopotamus. Oh, that is not
In
bad.
12 years of this show, how have we never
Nice.
come up with that before? On the podcast, got a theory about Home and Away and why they have disasters on that show. It's got nothing to do with the hippopotamus. Apparently there's a reason they have disasters.
Call Lynn that.
There's a big note, not Lynn McGranger. There's a reason they have these natural disasters. There's a fire at the school. Oh, there's a cyclone.
Yeah.
And it's to do with the business side of Home and
Pippa's
Away.
off her chops again, those kind of
Are
disasters.
you going to be respectful when we do
Yes.
this chat?
Sally's on the cookies. You'll hear more in the podcast.
The Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie podcast.
We've finally found someone that is very similar to you.
Okay.
And I think you'll be able to relate to this woman.
Okay.
Headline is, Woman 27 claims she's allergic to running.
Run.
A woman who claims that she's allergic to running has detailed the moment that she almost died after rushing to catch a flight and suffering from a severe reaction.
Every time I hear a story about running and an injury, I think to myself, thank God. I mean, I have avoided running and gyms for a long time because you saw the footage of the girl the other day we were laughing at on the treadmill who fell over and her leggings got ripped down by the actual treadmill machine.
You said to Kate Ritchie, is this you? She wasn't too happy with that.
And that's another reason I don't go to the gym, because accidents like that can happen. Now, if I am to take up running in my mid-40s, it's dangerous, mate. I might be allergic to it now.
Do you know what it is, mate? This girl, she was with her sisters. They were late for the flight. She's running through the airport. She gets on the flight. She breaks out in hives. That's all it is. You know what? She could have had some Benadryl.
That's running, yeah.
She's ended up using an EpiPen.
She's that allergic to running.
Well, she's used an EpiPen on the flight because she's broken out in hives.
Stab her. She's run 20 metres.
She also happens to be an influencer, so she's documented the whole thing. But a lot of people have come out on her TikTok page and said, no, this is a real thing. It's called EIA, and it's exercise-induced anaphylaxis.
Yeah. I
And
think
this-
I have that.
A lot of people suffer from it. This is where when your heart rate goes up, you break out in hives. It's like you have an allergic reaction.
Mate, I went for a run 20
This is you.
I went for a run 20 years ago, and have a look at my chin and my neck area now. Look, it's still
It's
swollen.
swollen.
Still, my left breast hasn't recovered. My thighs are heavy, and I'm left with this spare tyre around my waist. And that was because I ran 20 years ago.
Oh, my God. I think you've broken out again this morning.
Never
You are
again.
massive.
Oh my God, there's 5 chins.
If it's time for a winter trip, jump on What If, the place to go for quick Aussie getaways.
Probably somewhere in the snow for me.
For accommodation, flights and more, book on the What If app.
What if it's Aussie for travel?
Guys, interesting one on Home and Away. And I was just telling Kate off air, we were a big Home and Away and Neighbours fan. Like, we loved it. It was on the couch with Mum and my 2 sisters.
What about Dad?
No, not so much.
Dad, one of those dads that says, "Go get this rubbish off the TV."
he would have been reading the BRW you and watching the ABC in the other room.
Hey, the other show that the Whitfleys used to watch all together was Sex in the City. I see they just dropped a new trailer for series 2 of, what is it called, Tom? It's
Just Like That. And apparently
Like That.
she's going to be in it.
Yes, Samantha.
I shouldn't say she. What's her name?
Kim Cattrall.
But she's refused to do it with anyone else in the scene. She had to do it separately.
Oh, is that true?
And she's not getting on with them.
they're dropping her in.
In a separate state in America. She's going, I'll be on the show, but I don't want to do it with anyone else in the scene. They all hate her.
I've been on the group chat with my sisters about that. And I'll tell you what, if they ever bring back Seventh Heaven, the family will get together again. We'd sit down and watch that. I'd come home from TAFE doing my building course and sit on the couch with Mum for lunch.
What? Hang on a second.
Seventh Heaven.
Hang on. No, not Seventh Heaven. Your building course.
Yeah, I did a building management course at TAFE.
Oh, management.
Yeah.
Not actual building.
3 days of management, 2 days of building, hands-on. Tools.
And then fall asleep in your meetings, didn't you? And just
Let's move on to what I found interesting about Home and Away overnight. And it hadn't really dawned on me, but the reason that they have disasters on a show like Home and Away, Kate.
Oh, tell us, Whip.
You probably don't know. Fires, murders, kidnappings.
Mudslides.
Cyclones.
why would you ever
Stalkers.
Why would you buy real estate in Summer Bay after all the deaths they've had?
I was going to buy one in Thomastown. Blue Heelers, but that was like Mount Thomas, should I say?
Mount Thomas.
How violent was Mount Thomas?
Well, Thomastown was a bit cheaper. You would have been able to pick up a unit pretty easy there, I reckon.
Violence in Mount Thomas was extraordinary. Every week something went wrong.
Such a small town.
Apparently, how it works is deals are done with teams that build sets. Now, when it gets, like, at the start of a year, an agreement is done with the people that build the sets on the show.
Yeah.
Now, if the agreement and the contract hasn't delivered X amount of hours and a new set is required to be built so that agreement can carry out, they will introduce some sort of disaster on the show. Like the pub will burn down or there'll be a fire at the school.
So they build a new set?
build a new set.
What?
So they write the storyline into the show based around the amount of hours required by the team that builds the sets.
Do we have a
Oh,
That
Kate
is-
disagrees with that one.
That's what happens on the show.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. You were on there for 19 years.
More.
20.
How
21.
How
And
close,
then I came back for a guest role.
How close was Sally to dying?
She got stabbed.
So many times. And that didn't involve a set. That was an end-of-year cliffhanger, and I got stabbed in the car park.
Yeah,
that was the location, not the part of my body.
Sorry about that. You
By
were
Ian.
taking too long to come out.
Ian Meadows.
Yeah, you're bleeding out on the road. I remember watching it.
Yeah, that didn't involve a set. They didn't have to rebuild a set. They just built a promo and teased people back in for January.
Getting rid of a cast is different.
Who stabbed you, Kate?
I didn't die.
Who stabbed you?
It was actually really sad because I'd taken him into my house as a foster child and I really had a lot of time for him. Rory, I think his name was. And then he didn't want to do it, but he was being like bribed by Stabby McStabby.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, you have to do this. And he didn't want to do it. And even as he was doing it, he said, I don't want to do this. And then he stabbed me. And then
would he still be in jail for that, Rory?
He'd have to be.
I don't think anyone ever really went to jail.
Jess, could you pull the music down and get me a drone for a minute? Ooh. Can I just... I mean, I'm not an actor.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Believe it or not.
we've watched
Everything you hear on this
Underbelly.
show is open and honest. Can you do for me, like if I'm the stabber, I'm the stab guy.
No, I'm not
Tommy,
doing
I
this.
want you to call action and I'm going to go, hey.
Okay. Do you want me to call action?
Are we really doing
And I'm
this?
going to say,
come on.
I'm going to stab
But
you.
why are we doing this?
No,
What does
but
this
yeah,
prove about your story? Now you're just trying to change the topic.
I want to see you act.
Mate, I do it between 7 and 9 every day, laughing at your jokes, thinking you're amusing.
Okay, here we go, guys.
All right. Lights, camera,
I
action.
don't say that.
I'm going to stab you.
I'm not doing it. I don't do requests, and I'm not getting paid for this.
But you're on Cameo.
But
aren't
as
you?
if someone in a car park's going to go, hey, come here, I'm going to stab you.
Well, they do in Summer Bay.
Yeah, they do, mate.
They do. But anyway, this is that
Is the
is
scene ended?
none of that. Yes,
All right.
None of that is true. They don't build sets to try and get a set designer over the line. I would imagine most of these art departments are employed by the network themselves, so they're paid a
used to be.
wage.
Well
They're not
said,
paid
Kate.
per set.
Well said.
Next
And
time,
they do it to tease. It's like what you're about to say. You're about to say something like,
Yeah.
Win $500 with I'm Still Standing right now, 13-24-10 to play. That's the same as going, will Sally survive?
So you do the voiceover as well.
Yeah.
I love that.
The Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie podcast.
You know I love a Taylor Swift story, and I can't wait for her to arrive here in Australia next year.
Yes, yeah, you're probably looking
Are we
around
locking
March.
that in?
Yeah, March.
It is early next year, though.
Yep.
That's the plan, isn't it?
It is, definitely.
My 3-year-old daughter wants to be there. I reckon it's going to be a family trip to see Taylor Swift. This mum, who's done the best thing a mum can possibly do, daughter was crying for months because she couldn't get Taylor Swift tickets. The mum decided to dig deep and bought tickets for Taylor Swift off somebody else, and it cost her $4,500.
You're kidding
for
me.
2 tickets.
Far out.
That was...
Wasn't it... so with her tour, her Eras tour, I heard is... I don't know if it was Ticket Tech or Ticket Master.
Yeah.
What they were doing, it was similar to what airlines do. The quicker that the tickets were being sold, the price of the tickets went up. So it's like when you buy a ticket onto a plane. Now, if you buy your ticket later, you're always going to pay more. And then Taylor Swift had to come in and put her foot down and go, no, well, you can't do this.
No.
So they were making more money from the tickets.
Because this... what's interesting here is the daughter, who's now got the tickets, said, Mum, I can't believe you've spent so much money. I love you so much. We're going to have the best night. And Mum said, me too, darlings. It's going to be really special. She said, no, I've invited my best friend. Mum's cracked it. Won't even drive them to the show.
Oh, no.
Won't even drive them to the show.
Far out. Actually, do you remember when we had Taylor Swift here in this studio? Look, I cannot believe that she sat here and we had a conversation with her just to see how big she is now.
Yeah, I know.
But
she sat in your seat
mate,
right
and
there.
She was laughing. You serenaded her. Do you remember that?
Got the guitar out. It made sense.
Little did I know.
She loved it.
You were Romeo, you were throwing pebbles, and my daddy said, stay away from Juliet. And I was crying on the staircase, begging you, please don't go.
Here we go.
Romeo, take me somewhere I can be alone. I'll be waiting. All that's left to do is run. You'll be the prince and I'll be the princess. It's a love story.
That's good stuff.
Baby, just say yes.
That was...
We cut off her reaction.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I was hoping to hear something from Taylor Swift. All I heard was an idiot on guitar.
That was the last time she ever entered the country, and she hasn't been back. I think March next year is her next time.
Let's not do that again. Here's the other concerning thing about the tour. The sale and the demand for adult diapers has gone through the roof because people are buying adult nappies to wear to the show so they don't have to miss a minute and go to the toilet.
What a load of crap.
It's not. It's not. It's the done thing now that if you've got great seats and you're near the front, you don't want to miss one song by making your way all the way to the toilet. Right? You're now standing in a queue. You can miss up to 3 songs.
Mate, we went and saw Ed Sheeran, 80,000 people there.
Yeah.
No one's wearing nappies.
No, they weren't. But the true fans down the front live dry are the adult nappies and they've sold out.
Live dry.
I'm the problem, it's me.
Oh, you've done a bit of a Taylor Swift hook there into a joke.
Still waiting to hear from Taylor Swift. The ticket sales, as you know, are through the roof, and therefore they've matched the adult diapers because they're not missing a minute.
It would still be uncomfortable. You can't relieve yourself and still watch.
Well, if you're next to somebody at a Taylor Swift concert and they're singing along and all of a sudden they stop mid-song and they're just quiet for about 30 seconds, you know they're filling up the adult nappy.
Oh, gosh.
Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie.
Hey, that's a secret. Podcast password.
If you want to get your hands on stacks of great prizes, just head over to our Instagram stories at Fitzy Wippa Kate and enter this password. Today's password is...
Weddings.
The Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie podcast.
We're talking about tight-ass weddings.
Yeah.
And I do understand if you want to save money around such a big day because they can be very expensive. 13, 24, 10, if you've been to a wedding where they've cut the corners.
Well, I read the other day that the average cost of a wedding is around $48,000.
Oh, I saw it was 35.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
35 or 48. That's a lot of money on one day.
That is ridiculous.
Well, that's a deposit on a house, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or even just a wonderful holiday.
It's a new car.
Yeah.
You know?
I've been to numerous weddings where I grew up. One that sticks out in my mind. I didn't mind this, but it was a communal. It was just a big barbecue, and so as we were going through the ceremony, and then we went to reception. As the speeches were on, you could smell the barbecue in the distance.
Beautiful.
And then you were then passed plastic plates and knives and forks, and you go up and you line up and get your own food up there, Kate. A few salads.
Yeah, but was the
couple
food
of
good? Was it good?
Yeah, I loved it because then you went and you sat around, you could sit at other people's tables.
How's it going, Barry?
You just went and got yourself, and you threw all the plastic just into a huge bin.
Good coleslaw.
It was amazing. From
And a
KFC, it was
potato
KFC
salad
coleslaw.
or something. Or that chicken chow mein.
Chicken chow mein.
Or what does my mum
Plenty
do?
of blue eyeliner.
The noodles.
There's nothing
Soy
better.
sauce,
Nothing
and
better.
sesame oil and stuff. Oh my goodness!
the
It's all
maid of-
Women's Weekly.
As the maid of honour's up there getting emotional about the bride, you know, there's nothing better than smelling that caramelised onion on the barbecue.
And you know
it's
you're
so
ready.
good. But at least it is bringing together people to celebrate the union of a man and a woman, or whoever.
I agree.
Whoever happens to be
Well, it's-
there. There's nothing worse than being at a wedding where you think, well, they've absolutely spent way too much money and it may not even last.
Yeah.
So it's $100,000 down the drain. This woman in the US, she was married. Her and her sister were getting married in the same year. So 8 months previously, she'd walked down the aisle. They knew that they would have way too much leftover food. I'm guessing they did a similar kind of buffet style setup that you're talking about, Fitzy. And she knew that they would donate a lot of the food. It was her big day, so she didn't have to worry about the food. Her sister did. Don't worry about this, sis.
Yeah, sure.
You know, you go back to, the hotel with your husband, get in the car with the tins on the back or whatever they do.
Good luck.
Good
So
luck.
much fun.
Have a nice life together, and I'll deal with the food.
Enjoy your wedding night. Classic stuff.
Protection.
Oh, I want that.
8 months later, what are you even talking about?
If you want.
8 months later, she goes to another wedding, her sister's wedding, and they're about to eat. She's like, this food looks remarkably familiar. The sister, 8 months previously, had not donated the food to the soup kitchen or whatever it was that she had said she was going to. She froze it and defrosted it for her own wedding 8 months later. Now, I'm all about bringing people together in the union of love, but
Two weddings
I
for
don't know.
one.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I support that. Imagine that. Hey, the garlic bread's still a bit frozen inside. Yeah. Now, this salad's a bit crispy on the outside. What's going on here?
If that would, it'd still be off, wouldn't it? If it's been in there for that long, when you defrost it.
You can still eat. You can eat food that long after it's been in the freezer. It's not usually that great. They often freeze your wedding cake or
Yes,
whatever.
they do.
I only defrosted some of my wedding cake or even my baby shower cake not that long ago, and it
And you can
tasted
still eat it.
delicious.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Rowan's given us a call from Currajong. You went to a tight-ass wedding, Rowan.
Yeah, a friend of mine, we got the invitation to the wedding, and inside the invitation was purchase your tickets to our wedding, $140 a person.
You got to be kidding me.
It's like an over red room.
What did you do, Ro?
Well, we purchased it, as you do, because our good friends. But then when we got there, you still had to buy your own drinks. It wasn't even an open bar.
Rowan, do you know what? You're not getting a wedding present on top of that, are you? Do you have to pay for that?
Yeah, it was still... And then there was still the usual presents they wanted, like on the list that they could...
Oh, they
you could
had
go
a
and
registry as well, or a wedding. What do they have? A wedding will.
Yeah, I mean, Rowan, in those situations, to imagine the group chat behind the groom's back. There would have been...
I think we paid for the cars, the dress, and everything else on the day because it wasn't real flash.
Do they still do
they made
the
it-
registry? Remember that you'd go on to David Jones. Bloody, the toast is gone. What else have they got?
Oh,
left?
what a
What's
kettle.
left?
But a lot of
I
people
knew we
live-
took too long to get onto the website.
I told you to get on last week. Do you know the thing is, if you're not going to have a nice wedding, right, if you don't have the budget for the fancy one, just call it like your situation, Fitzy. Just call it a barbecue.
Yeah, I agree.
And then surprise everyone with the nuptials on the day.
A get together.
Yeah, don't call it a wedding. Go everyone for a really significant barbecue in my backyard.
A celebration expression of love.
Or the other one is, don't a lot of people book in an event and say, we've got an event, we would like your function centre. Don't tell them it's a wedding.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
and then things
But
are
we just
cheaper.
need this food. I need a bit of food for the people that are rocking up for it. And then on the day you rock up in your wedding dress
comes
and
the
your
bride.
brand new suit.
Got your beauty.
No, just don't get married.
Because
hey?
they triple it, don't they? They triple the price.
The Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie podcast.
Maddie in Penrith, move on from Fitzy's love of warm weather. What did you want to talk about this morning?
Good morning. So Joe Biden stacked it overnight. And I'm just wondering, what age is it that you have a fall instead of have fallen over?
That's
Because
so
if it was
true.
elbow,
There's a
they'd say
difference.
he's fallen over. But because it's Biden and he's old, they're like, he's had a fall.
Yeah, when you describe a fall as an actual incident that will have consequences, think that's the difference, Maddie. When you might just fall over, like if you and I fall over, big deal, you get back up. But if you have a fall, then that's completely different, isn't it?
So what age is that, do we think?
Oh, jeez.
Well, see, BJ's grandmother, Norma's going through quite a few falls at home at the moment. Like, she just falls over all the time. And it's bad because they bruise up so easily.
My nan Norm had a little, like a wristwatch thing that she used to wear, Fitz.
Oh.
So if she fell over, because it happened to her in the kitchen, she couldn't get to the phone to call for help.
Gotcha.
So then she presses the button and the
Yes.
ambulance knows to come and get her.
That's a great little invention.
You've got to get one of those.
Well, I showed her my wristwatch one day.
Oh, that made her pass out, didn't it?
I'll tell you what, she hit the emergency button that day and the police arrived, Maddie, which is a bit of a weird twist. She certainly had a fall that day, fall from grace. We move on, Maddie.
Oh, what a pity.
There's
more, isn't it?
My nan Norma has passed away since. But by all means, make jokes about a penis.
So you know what? This is the good thing of this show. We dance around it so well.
No one knew what we were talking about. No one had any idea.
They didn't at all. Benny and Cronulla, please save us. What did you want to talk about?
Good morning, team. I wanted to talk about Air New Zealand weighing their passengers. I have a whittle for you. It's a real whipper.
A whittle. Right, okay. What do you got for us, Ben?
If you weigh a whale at a whaleway station, where do you weigh a pie? Somewhere over the rainbow, weigh a pie.
Ben, you've made my day. That's awesome.
I thought that'd be right up your alley, Wippa.
Ben, you are the best caller we've had all week, without question.
Cool.
Steve Sanchez, Red Room.
Why a pie?
Do you know what, Ben? You're going. If you listen to Riddle Time at the end of the show today, we're going to play back your whittle.
Thank you very much.
Right.
What's that going to be?
Do you know what? And I'm giving you the 10 tickets to the Gabs Craft Beer and Cider Festival. They're all yours, Benny.
You're the best.
No worries. You and 9 mates. One of the best beer festivals in the world. GabsFestival.com. Drink responsibly. When is that? Oh, this weekend. It starts today, Benny.
I'm a craft beer collector. Thank you, boys.
It's at ICC Sydney in Darling Harbour, so get there this weekend.
Yeah, way up high. Good on you, Benny.
You're listening to the Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie podcast.
Do you know, I was only thinking about this the other day, but shows that we grew up with that you probably couldn't have it on air anymore.
There'd be a couple, wouldn't there, floating around where you look back and go, oh, gee, that hasn't dated well.
Man, oh man, Perfect Match with Greg Evans. I mean, there was some evidence.
You could do that.
Oh, I don't know. Greg got quite amorous with some of the contestants sometimes.
As long as you're running The Bachelor, where it's one guy and, 20 girls, I reckon you can have a swing at it.
It's a knockout. I think for insurance reasons, you
That would be
probably couldn't
tricky.
do that one anymore.
Yeah, that would
the
be
other
hard.
one I was thinking about as well is Who Dares Wins with Mike Whitney.
That's right.
I loved Who Dares
So
Wins.
they would like stop somebody on the street and go, all right, if you can eat this pineapple in 30 seconds with your hands tied behind your back, we'll give you $50.
Well, I want to focus on the $50 because someone the other day made my day, and they put together a montage of Mike Whitney trying to give people $50. Okay, have a listen to this.
Interrupted without messing up, I'll give them $50, and if they I'm going to ask somebody to eat one of these for $50. We're going to dare them to stick their hand in the tank and retrieve the $50 note. $50 if you put this in Vanessa's pocket. And if they can last the distance, I'll give them $50. Emu egg. What's it worth? 50 bucks. If they can get through that, we'll give them 50 bucks. It's red. And if they can do that, I'll give them 50 bucks. I'm going to dare someone to see if they can pull this $50 note out of the trap without they do it, we'll give them 50 bucks. Down, I'll give you 50. All within a minute. And if they can do that, I'll give them $50. And stay on for 30 seconds, I'll give them 50 bucks.
cheap show to make, really, wasn't it? I mean,
one camera guy.
I mean, if there's probably 4 or 5 people winning throughout the whole show, you've just forked out $200.
There you go.
Very
Thanks,
cheap
Mike
show.
Whitney. Flick us a fitty.
One of the best.
The Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie podcast.
Riddle time returns for your Friday, guys. You know what time of the week it is when you hear that song. Thomas Brian Ivy confirming that we are streaming live on the Fitzy and Wippa Facebook page this morning.
Yeah, people listening from all over the place this morning.
Riddler in the booth.
Where?
Yeah, there's Brandon is in Hazy Nimbin, he says.
Oh, Hazy Nimbin.
Hazy.
In the TP.
He'd be pretty relaxed at the moment, you would think, going into riddle time.
It's very early.
Very hazy.
Big happy birthday to Nikki Parks. It's her birthday.
Parksy.
She's watching
21 today.
The old reverse.
And Heidi's in bed with the flu, guys. There you go.
Heidi.
Heidi, best place to be when you've got the flu, am I right?
How long have you been going out with the flu for?
That's pretty good.
Can't get rid of him, can you?
Unfortunately, now we have to do some riddles.
Oh, mate, these riddles you are going to love. Kate took out 3 riddles when we played this last week.
Yeah.
So hopefully you bought your A game today.
Come on,
Here we go
please,
with the
I wanna
first
win.
one. I can be long, I can be short, I can be grown, and I can be bought.
Secret.
If left bare, I can be round or square.
I've still got the Mika song. It starts and it just sounds
I can be bound. I mean, that was last week.
Is it Mika?
No, it's not. Here we go, guys. I can be long, I can be short, I can be grown, I can be bought. If all left bare, I can be round or square.
Is it like some kind of vegetable?
It's not a vegetable,
Is
MDG.
it a day of the week?
It's not a day of the week. Thank you for kicking it off with the first bid. A vegetable to day of the week.
Am I close with a calendar
No,
vibe?
you're not. You're not a calendar vibe.
Okay.
Nothing to do with time, Kate. Nothing to do with time.
I can be grown, I can be bored.
I can be long and
I can be short. I can be grown.
There'll be
Is it a
plenty of
sound?
answers for it, but it'll
No.
be some unique niche answer.
Well, that's why it's a riddle, mate. Yeah. Or left bare. I can be round or square, depending on what you do to them.
Oh,
Do to them.
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
So it's a group, is it?
Lauren on Facebook.
I know.
Oh, yeah? You go.
Do you think you know?
Oh, Wippa's given it to you. What have you got there, Kate?
How?
What have you got there, Kate?
Your nails, your pedicure.
It's your fingernails. You're spot on.
Yeah.
Show me how I gave that to Kate.
Just a little.
How?
Mouth the next one.
I did not. Did I mouth you anything?
No.
I would never mouth you.
As much as I ask you to.
So cute.
It was
Wowee.
it's just a quick little inclusion for recap.
I'm married. Here we go, guys. Made of 10, but 2 we are. 5 apart, we are weak. 5 together, havoc we wreak.
Ooh.
What are we?
A week?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with time.
Something from
Leak? Is it a leak?
No, mate. Doesn't have to rhyme.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with rhymes.
Is it
Meek.
a cheek?
No. Not cheek, not meek, not leak.
Something to do with Mika. That's a great song.
No.
That is a good song.
Daniel on Facebook says I can see the answers on the paper whip. So
Well, is the camera shot from behind, is it?
it's nothing to do with like a sporting team, is it?
No.
Like
No.
Is it a creek?
Made of 10, but 2 we are. 5 apart, and we are weak. 5 together, havoc we wreak.
Is it like a choir?
No.
Would the phrase Jack Johnson and Tom O'Leary mean anything to you, Michael Whitfley?
No.
2 great boxers who use their fists to wreak all sorts of havoc.
Bang, NDG! Your fists. 5 fingers on each. Made of 10. We've got 10 all up. 5 apart.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty
Who
good.
was that? Who did the snoring? Ryan?
wake up, Fitzy, you're still on.
Just because you don't. Mandy, wake him up. Welcome to the show. You got a riddle for us, Mandy and Mascot?
Morning, people. How are we?
Pretty good, Mandy.
Good. Right, are you ready?
Ready.
Ready.
People often cut into me, and although I can be sharp, I never cut them back. Most people like me, but even if you hate me, just say my name will make you smile. What am I?
A long riddle?
Wow. It's not a long riddle.
A turn? Is it something to do with traffic?
No.
Is it wit?
Wheat?
Nope.
Sharp.
Is it a type of food? Is it a type of food?
It is a type of food, Tom.
Oh, hello.
Sharp.
Tongue. No.
But I can be sharp back.
Yeah.
And it makes you smile when you say it?
Yes, that's right,
Cheese.
Kate. Just say...
Guys, thank you so much.
That is a great riddle.
Well, we've still got another. Yep. Thanks, Mandy. Still got one more to go, guys.
That was such a good riddle. I love having Mandy on.
What about this one? What can bring tears to your eyes, make you move faster, make you move slower, and knock you over?
The wind.
Thomas Bryan,
Did I get it? Yes, you did, Tom. Yes, you did.
The Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie podcast.